welcome to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's only local morning show, giving you exclusive access into people, businesses, and events in our community. We're bringing you this show live daily weekdays at 9:30 a.m. with your host, me, Maddie Muschin. Before we dive into today's show, every week we highlight someone here on the Splash Live, an educator, student, business, or organization from our Greater West Bloomfield community going above and beyond. If you would like to submit an entry for someone, you can do so by scanning the QR code on the screen and filling out the Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and reasons why you think they should be recognized here on the Splash for the Person of the Week. Now let's go check out what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. The first event we want to look at is the West Bloomfield Township Public Library virtual events. The library is hosting a ton of fun and educational events for residents of West Bloomfield and all age groups. Today they're having their 7 p.m. film discussion series on the film Modern Times, where they'll talk about comedy and laughter in film in the industry and how it started. They're also having an educational talk tomorrow at 10 a.m. about normal cognitive decline and dementia. They will be talking about how you can look for early signs of dementia in your loved ones. This talk will be presented by the Jewish Family Services over their Zoom call. For this event and all other virtual events at the library, you can register on their website at wblib.org. Something else that is ongoing at the library is your ability to rent out those great literacy and tender topic kits to help your child with literacy skills and ways to learn about tough topics that are happening in our community. You can rent these out by stopping into the library or calling the Youth Services desk to reserve a kit of your choice. The next event we want to look at is on Thursday, April 14th. You can join in the Easter egg hunt fun at Marshbank Park. West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation is hosting their egg hunt, where you can hunt for eggs and redeem them for cool treats and prizes. They will also be having a meet and greet with the Easter Bunny, a petting farm, and trackless train rides that you, your friends, and family can enjoy. Registration for your specific age group can be done through the West Bloomfield Parks website, and make sure to bring your own Easter basket to carry all of your prizes and eggs. The registration fee for this event is $7 per West Bloomfield resident child and $9 for children that are not residents of West Bloomfield. The last event we want to look at is on Thursday, April 21st. The Sylvan Lake Garden Club invites you to an evening of learning about how to use native Michigan plants to support the declining pollinator populations, create healthy yards, trails, and lakes, and as well as minimizing rain runoff and flooding. Led by Erica Kleitz, director of the Oakland County Cooperative Invasive Species Management at Six Rivers Land Conservancy, there will be social time starting at 6:30 p.m. and presentations will start at 7 p.m. This event will be at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. If you have an event you would like us to feature here on the Splash Live, you can send us a message on our social media pages at Civic Center TV and on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. Coming up, I'll be talking with Laura Azoury, Parks Naturalist for West Bloomfield Parks. But before that, this past Friday and Saturday, West Bloomfield helped clean our community by hosting their spring hazardous waste drop-off. We got an inside look into the items residents were dropping off and talked to Kathy Cederland, the drop-off coordinator at the event, about the impact that this has on our environment and some of the other environmental causes that you can get involved with later in the month. Let's go check it out. As we head into spring, it is important to keep hazardous items out of our landfills. West Bloomfield Township is making it easy for their residents to dispose of some of those items through their hazardous waste drop-off. We talked to coordinator Kathy Cederland about the event and how disposing of these items properly positively impacts our environment.
We have a new vendor, so it was a new experience for us getting used to them this year, but it seemed to be going pretty smoothly. We were a lot busier for the Friday, which is usually our slower day, so we have a little bit of an adjustment, but it's going well, and the residents seem to be moving through pretty quickly, so they are pretty happy about that. This one is primarily important because I don't think everybody understands what you can and can't put in your trash, and it's something that's really important to learn. There are just things we need to help do to preserve the environment, our air, our land, our water, and that's why we really hope that you learn what needs to be brought to an event like this so it can be properly disposed of, and we can take care of everything for future generations.
Sometimes it's confusing to know which items can and cannot go into our landfills. We talked to Kathy about how to tell which items should be disposed of at a hazardous waste drop-off.
Well, one of the important things is to look for things that say like use in well ventilated area. That's a trigger. Anything that says poison. There's triggers that are actually on your products. Anything that's an aerosol. Anything as simple as nail polish shouldn't go into your trash. It should be brought here. We have a list of acceptable and unacceptable items. We also have lists on our website that tell you where to recycle things that can't even be brought here, put curbside, like tires. And there's, we've researched it all. We really care about our environment, and we can provide you with any information you need. Just give us a call, and we'll lead you through. And we have shredding in 2 weeks. That's going to be 2 weeks. We separated that from our hazardous waste to help the traffic flow, and it really is a huge improvement. And we still had a couple people show up because they're used to, for the past 20 years, being able to bring shredding, but we're offering that as a separate event, and we want people to come do that too.
Just like any event, the volunteers and workers are crucial to the hazardous waste drop-off, helping customers move through the line and knowing which items go where.
Our volunteers are primarily from the Planning and Development Services Department as we run the event, but we also have a couple volunteers from the Township Board and some from other departments here at the Township. And a lot of people really enjoy working it because the residents really enjoy coming. They're in a really great mood, and it's just a really good atmosphere.
If you missed the hazardous waste drop-off event this spring, don't worry because West Bloomfield will be having one in the fall. If you have any questions, you can contact West Bloomfield Town Hall to answer any questions you may have. Reporting for the Splash Live, I'm Maddie Muschen. Don't worry if you missed this spring's hazardous waste drop-off. You can make sure to keep your items to drop off at their next event this fall. And you can make sure to also check out their Shredding Day that is coming up next weekend to drop off all of your shredded items that need to be disposed of. Later on, we'll be taking a look at a great organization here in Greater West Bloomfield that is helping members in our community who are dealing with food insecurity. But before that, I'll be talking with Lauren Azoury, Parks Naturalist for West Bloomfield Parks. All that and more after this short break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Muschen. Joining us now to talk about some of the important things in nature in our West Bloomfield community is Lauren Azoury, Parks Naturalist for West Bloomfield Parks. Lauren, thanks so much for joining us again today.
Hi, Maddie. Happy Earth Month.
Yes. So, Lauren, one of the things that has been talked about a lot in our West Bloomfield community are some of those invasive species. Can you talk a little bit about some of those invasive species, the plants, and especially the garlic mustard invasive species?
Yeah, invasive species can kind of be a gloom and doom topic, unfortunately. Sometimes it just seems like we're fighting this battle that's hard to win, especially with Phragmites, which is that really, really tall one that grows in the wetlands. It just tends to really take over and takes years to manage it. And we do have a fair amount in our township. But there are a lot of things that we can do, especially if we work together as neighbors in the community. Because if you have an invasive species on your property and you manage that, you pull it or you treat it, and your neighbor does not, it's just going to continue to spread. So it really is an all community effort. It's something that we do in our parks, as well as we ask our neighbors and our community members to learn about and do as well.
So Lauren, for those in our community who are not familiar with some of the invasive species or how to learn about those or figure out which of those are in their backyards, in their environment, can you give us a little bit of insight into how to tell whether a plant is an invasive species or not?
Yeah, a lot of times invasive species create what we call a monoculture. So if you look at an area and it's only one specific type of plant growing, it's all looks the same. That's not really great for nature. That's not good biodiversity. It doesn't provide good nutrients. It doesn't provide food sources for wildlife. Like, think about if you ate the same thing every day or lived in, saw the same thing every day. It's not beneficial. So a lot of times when you see a plant that has become a monoculture, one thing growing there, that is often an invasive species, but there are some good resources to learn what they are. You can always come to a nature program with me. We always address invasive species on our hikes, so you can get up close and personal with them on trails in our area. But Oakland County CISMA, CISMA, is also a very good resource. They've got great handouts as well as good visuals on their website. But the one that you would notice right now that is just starting to bloom is garlic mustard.
And then, Lauren, you guys have those garlic mustard stewardship programs for our community members. Can you talk a little bit about that and how members in our community can get involved and a little bit of overview into the programs?
Yeah, so a quick thing about garlic mustard, it is blooming right now. I went out and grabbed some to show you so everyone can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. It's got this like heart shape or liver shaped leaf. It's got these little scalloped edges, and right now there's no flower blooming on it. So it's just a short little plant right now with these green scalloped leaved edges. And pretty soon it's going to grow a long stalk with a white flower. The white flower has 4 petals and looks kind of like that. So keep an eye out for that on your property as well as in our parks. And if you have it, there's an easy way to get rid of it. So this is a great one to help with. This is something that everyone in the community can do and keep an eye out for. So if you pull it from the ground, you're just going to wiggle it up and you're going to make sure that you get this really good long tap root. If the root breaks off, it's going to just grow back. But you make sure you get that root, and then you're going to dispose of it properly. So you make sure that you bag it in black garbage bags and it goes in your regular waste disposal, not in your compost, so that we don't continue to spread it. If we get rid of this and then we plant natives in its place, we'll have a much better environment for our habitats in Michigan. So we teach people about this plant a little more thoroughly, and we show it where it's at in our trail during our stewardship work days. We've turned it into something fun though, because like I said, invasive species are important to know about, but they can sound like gloom and doom. So if you come to a land stewardship program, we have a work day on May 1st, as well as a contest on May 7th. So we have 2 different events for those at different parks where garlic mustard is very prevalent and we need your help. So one day we welcome all ages. So even kiddos can do this. So it's a good way to create good camaraderie in the community, as well as teach stewardship of our land. And then we do something fun after. So once you do all that pulling and you do all that hard work, we meet back up in the evening for a nature hike and a campfires. And then the other one is a contest. So we make it fun, we make it competitive, be silly about it. And then the winner that pulls the most gets a prize at the end. So, we try to do some education. So you learn about the plant and why it's bad, how to identify it, learn a few other things while you're out on the trail, and then we make fun with it too.
And Lauren, you were also talking about those native plants. You guys are having a native plant sale coming up. Can you talk about that and what West Bloomfield Parks is doing to help promote native plants in our community?
Yeah, native plants is actually one of my favorite topics. We could talk all day about it. I'm very passionate about it, and I love getting native plants, like true native plants, into our community. We've partnered with Plants for Ecology for many years now, providing the opportunity to purchase true native plants. True native plants are much easier to care for because they're adapted to our environment here in Michigan, so less watering, things like that, so that's appealing to people. They attract pollinators, so you'll get really beautiful butterflies in your garden with native plants, as well as just their really high ecological value. So they're great for our environment as well. So there's lots of pluses to native plants, but they are hard to find true native plants from a true native grower, and we have that opportunity to provide that in our community, so that's great. We've adapted to online sales in the last few years, and we're going to continue to do that. So online pre-orders for our native plant sales starts May 15th and goes through the 19th. So there's a couple days to shop, but we always sell out of certain species that are really popular. So make sure if you're interested in the native plant sale that you shop early. And then plant pickup is that Saturday, May 21st at Marchbank Park. So you can curbside, drive by, bring it to your car. We can answer some questions as well if you're curious about where to plant them or what to do with them. But any questions about natives, we're always happy to answer that and talk with people about it because they do have such a great value and they bring a lot to our community as well as to your own garden to enjoy. So yep, native plant sale starts May 15th.
And then Lauren, as we wrap up here, you guys are also having your Earth Day celebration with it, which is probably one of the biggest events for West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. Can you tell us a little bit about that event and how people can participate in it?
Yeah, so obviously nature is at the forefront of what West Bloomfield Parks does, and Earth Day is a great time to shout it from the rooftops and to celebrate with our community what it really means to be a good steward of the land. So we've partnered with some great local organizations that share a similar mission to us about environmental education. So a lot of our watershed groups will be there providing unique activities. I know one watershed group always does a aquatic bug hunt at their station. Bees in the D is coming and they're talking about the importance of honeybees and other pollinators. So the reason I love this event so much is, first of all, it gets people outside in a time of the year that sometimes the weather isn't always ideal, but we have to appreciate nature in all weather. And it's behind the Recreation Activity Center where our outdoor natural play area is. So they also get to enjoy nature in different ways, explore in the mud, explore our sensory garden, and then just learning something different from each station that they visit, a different conservation message through a fun hands-on activity at each station. So that is April 19th. It's on a Tuesday afternoon in the back of our Recreation Activity Center building. We do hike at that as well, but it's really popular, so the hikes are sold out. So we encourage everyone that was interested in that to still please attend the event, because the celebration, there's lots of stations to visit and lots of activities to do. And you can register at wbparks.org. It's free, but we just ask that you register in advance.
Well, Lauren, thank you so much for joining us again here on the Splash Live. We always appreciate you giving us some insight and information into our environment, as well as telling us about some of those fun events that are coming up for West Bloomfield Parks.
Thanks, Maddie. Thanks for having me, and happy Earth Month.
Yes, happy Earth Month to you too, Lauren. Once again, I was joined by Lauren Azoury, the parks naturalist for West Bloomfield Parks, talking to us about those invasive species, as well as some of their very cool events that are happening up in this upcoming month. I got to visit an organization here in Greater West Bloomfield that is helping to support our community members through giving them access to food that they enjoy. Hospitality House Food Pantry is working to lessen the stress of poverty in our community through their food pantry and other great services that they offer. I talked to the executive director, Michael Fraley, about the great things that they have in store. Let's go check it out.
Greater West Bloomfield is home to a ton of great organizations that are giving back to the community. We visited one of those organizations that is providing choices that normal food pantries may not always have. Executive Director of Hospitality House Food Pantry, Michael Fraley, talked to us about their organization and how they're positively impacting the community.
So most of the clients that we are serving are those who are living in poverty currently. So we serve anyone that's 200% above the federal poverty level. So for a single individual, that's anyone that's making $25,000 and less. And then as the family members increase, so does that income level. But we actually serve a lot of families with children. We also serve a lot of single individuals, especially those living on Social Security disability and Social Security. Those individuals only make about $800 a month from the federal government. That's barely enough to cover rent, let alone food sources. And so most likely the individuals we see, they're already on food stamps, and we are an enhancement to that program. And so we fill in the gaps where food stamps can't. So as you can see, our pantry is set up like a store. And so clients are able to choose the food they want. And that power of choice is something that I really have realized that I take for granted personally. People who are living on food stamps, people with limited income, or people who are visiting food pantries, they don't necessarily have that choice. And so we try to stock different types of juices and breakfast items. That way they can choose the food that suits them best. We're also reducing food waste that way. We're not just a food pantry. We also put homeless clients into hotel rooms up to 28 days. With case management services, we offer a car repair program that helps clients to repair their car. So we financially contribute towards that. We've helped fix alternators, tires, transmissions. And then we receive a lot of food that we can't utilize. So we help support 8 area soup kitchens that can use the food immediately that day, as along with we provide food to the Wall Lake Student Pantry Group, and we're helping to feed Afghan refugees.
Volunteers and donations are what keeps Hospitality House running in order to help our community and make up a large part of the items that they get in their pantry.
So we rely heavily on volunteers. We are a very small staffed organization. It's myself and 2 other small employees. And so we rely heavily, especially in the warehouse, to receive our food shipments in and out. We rely on the generosity of volunteers to come and help us out with that. If anyone's interested in volunteering, they can go to www.hhfp.org and they can sign up for either long-term opportunities or short-term opportunities. And then as far as donations, you can go to our website and donate. We also rely heavily on donations. We have been fortunate to be so supported by the local community. We use those donations in a number of ways. First and foremost, to purchase food, because not all the food that we do have to purchase some of the food, but we also have to pay for the refrigeration for the food, the lights and the electricity and the gas for the building. Without that, we wouldn't be able to operate. So your generosity is much appreciated.
For more information, you can visit the Hospitality House Food Pantry website at hhfp.org to volunteer and also to donate. Reporting for the Splash Live, I'm Maddie Muschin.
Thank you again to Michael for giving us some more information on the Hospitality House Food Pantry and ways that you can get involved either through volunteering or donating. It's now time to check out our interview that we had with Dr. Donya Bozzi, the new superintendent for West Bloomfield School District. Let's go check that out now. Joining us now to introduce ourselves to our viewers and talk about her background in the education field is Dr. Donya Bozzi, the newly named superintendent for the West Bloomfield School District. Dr. Bozzi, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, Dr. Bozzi, can you first give us a little bit of background on your experience working in the education system and how that brought you to the West Bloomfield School District?
So, I have a wide range of experience in the educational field. I didn't start out in the educational field. I was working as a project consultant at Ford Motor Company right out of college and enjoyed that, but knew that I would want to pursue, professional aspirations within the field of education. So I started my educational journey as a high school math teacher at John Glenn High School. That was a great job. I was able to serve the community that I went to school in. I did work for our rival high school within the district, but had a great experience. Obviously, I have a math background, so I then moved into a school data consultant role at Jackson ISD and had a great experience there. And missed, though, being close, to students and at the district level, and worked as the director of teaching and learning in Hamilton Community Schools, which is just south of Holland. After that, my career then took me to my first superintendency, and I've served for the past 8 years as a superintendent in a couple of districts. My most recent tenure is at Ferndale Public Schools. It's been an amazing experience, and I never thought that I would be a superintendent growing up. I always thought that I would be a curriculum director, a teacher. So my career did take me on a little bit of twists and turns, but it's been an incredible experience, and I've worked with wonderful staff and students and communities, and really has been just the best experience.
And Dr. Bozzi, could you tell us a little bit about why you chose to apply for the superintendent position for the West Bloomfield School District?
Yeah, I appreciate the question very much because I love Ferndale. We've accomplished a great deal in the past 5 years as a team. When I saw the West Bloomfield opportunity, I saw it as a great opportunity to kind of continue some of the great impact that we've been able to have collectively. It's an exciting and new challenge. I believe that within this role, I'll be able to continue to grow as a leader and hopefully be able to add value to the West Bloomfield School District and community as a whole. So I think that, you know, at a certain point, there's new opportunities, new learning, new growth. And really the community in West Bloomfield was an ideal fit for me in terms of what their focus is and what their commitments to. There's a lot of parallels between the two districts.
And Dr. Bozzi, what type of characteristics, work habits do you hope to bring to the West Bloomfield School District? You talked about, you know, bringing that growth that you've had in your previous position and bringing that to the West Bloomfield community. Are there any specific characteristics or leadership aspects that you hope to bring here?
So, you know, one thing that's important is to continue the great work that's been taking place in West Bloomfield. There's been a strong commitment, you know, to the 4 C's in terms of being a collaborator, a contributor, a communicator, a critical thinker, a creative problem solver. I think those are really important, that we continue to model those as educators, as community members, stakeholders, so that our students understand that these are really critical skills. They're essential skills as you move on from your secondary education. So I think we have to continue to do that. What I hope to bring is to create an environment where people feel empowered to take risks. You know, it's really important that as individuals, we dream big for ourselves, but it's more important that we dream bigger for our students. So I want to create a collaborative culture where people are empowered to take risks and really dream big about what possibilities there are.
Dr. Bozzi, what were your thoughts? What was the first initial reaction when you heard that you were going to be the new superintendent for the West Bloomfield School District? What were the initial thoughts that were going through your head when you got the position?
Yeah, I was humbled, and I was really humbled. It's a wonderful community. Like I said, if you would have asked me 20 years ago, would I be in this position, I probably wouldn't have said so. So I was excited about the future, excited about all the possibilities. I really feel that it's, you know, these are the opportunities in life that you take a risk and you go for. We often regret the things that we don't go after. So it was just pure excitement. I was really excited through all of the process of the interview process with all the stakeholder groups, including students, staff, community members, the Board of Education, administrators. I really had a great feeling, a great experience through that process. So at the end, to be offered the position, it just really cemented all the feelings that I had through the process.
And then is there one thing that you are most looking forward to in your new position, whether that is some of the programs that are here in the West Bloomfield School District, the faculty, the community, or you know, getting out and seeing some of the events that we have here in West Bloomfield?
Well, you know, I'm excited because everything about West Bloomfield is cutting edge. I can really see a commitment to academic excellence as well as the arts and athletics within the community. What I'm most excited about at this point is the district is embarking on the strategic planning process. To me, that is our opportunity as a team to come together to set the district vision and goals for the next, 3 to 5 years, so that we're all on the same page, working towards the same goals. And to be a part of that process, from the onset is exciting. I believe that's the strategic plan is vital to the success of the district. And I'm glad to see that all stakeholder groups will be represented through that process. And that will be able to, that will allow us to move forward together as a team with a common direction.
Thank you again to Dr. Donya Bozzi for joining us on the Splash Live and introducing herself to our greater West Bloomfield community. Thank you again to Lauren Azoury for joining us this morning on the Splash Live to talk about some of the great things happening in our environment in West Bloomfield. A special thanks to our Zoom producer, Jared Clark, for coordinating the Zoom and making sure our guests joined us. And as always, a huge thank you to Calvin Brown, our board operator, for making the show possible each and every morning. And thank you for joining me as we explored all of the people and events going on in our greater West Bloomfield community As always, you can make sure to tune in live on Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99 Monday through Friday at 9:30 to catch up on what's going on in our greater West Bloomfield community. For all of our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Maddie Muschin. Thank you for watching The Splash Live.